The team that doesn't just talk about impact, they ignite it. Jim Morris and producer Rachel.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rise and energize. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, so energized.
Coming off the big holiday, come back to work yesterday, feeling a little tired, maybe coming down off that sugar high from all the brownies and cookies.
Oh, I was having the biggest sugar crash. Like I just felt out of body. I didn't feel like myself. And I thought, okay, we'll get through the day. I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up today and feel amazing. And I do not. Like it is fascinating how like low energy foods that you just know are bad for you, how long they sort of stay in your system for. And I think the oddest thing is when you're feeling good and it's consistent, you don't realize like that you're at a higher energy level. Does that make sense? When you're feeling good and then all of a sudden it just takes a couple of jelly beans and I am like completely off kilter. It is so odd. I really need to figure out, because we talk about like the energy around people, but there's energy around everything, and including food. So I really have to just get better about knowing, not even knowing what to eat and what not to eat. I'm old enough to figure that out. But like just to stop myself from doing the bad things that harm me, right? Like we talk about doing that with people. Why can't I do that with food?
Well, it's consumption, I think, right? Whether you're consuming, we talk about the creator consume workshop we do, like whether you're consuming information that's bad for you online, meaning what emotion does it bring, right? And I think that's really where I've tried to focus of like, okay, when I'm thinking about energy, what am I consuming when I don't have energy? What am I consuming when I'm off? What am I consuming when my attitude is poor? Like you had mentioned, producer Rachel, like, oh, I shouldn't have a couple jelly beans. Like, I don't know about you, but there's no couple jelly beans for me. So like, there's like handfuls and handfuls. But like, when I think about that, it's consumption, right? And it's like, okay, I'm over consuming. Well, what do I do? And how does that make me feel? Right? If it's online and I'm consuming content about everybody's highlight reels and how great they're doing, well, the emotion of consuming that content online is negative for me. It drains me. Same with food, and it's funny. Like I think I'm lactose intolerant. Like I like ice cream kills me, but on the ride back, I'm eating ice cream the other day, right? And it's like, well, what's the emotion that attaches with that? It's a high. It's a good emotion. Ice cream makes me feel good in the moment. But I know what the actual emotion is and what lingers. And that's, my stomach hurts. Don't want to wake up in the morning sometimes after I overconsume food or bad food or sugar. And then you talked about the sugar crashes, right? It's like your energy spikes and then it's like you don't want to move. So I think it just comes down to what are we consuming in all angles, right? Is that food in our mouth and digested in our stomach? Is that, information that's hitting our brain that's pushing us to feel a certain emotion? And then of course it's people, because we interact with so many people, right?
Well, it's funny that you put all that together because of the sugar crash, my energy was lower. Plus I was on a lower vibration and I caught myself just like doom scrolling, and I haven't doom scrolled in so long. I really haven't. I don't consume media in that way. I create, but I don't really consume in that way. And I was like, fascinated by, wow, it really is like a domino effect. Like one bad decision puts you in this like lower frequency of energy. And then I caught myself just doing the next bad thing, and the next bad thing, which is like fascinating because you're like literally tying it all together. And at first I was like, no. But like when I think about it, yeah, it really does get you on this cycle of just low frequency consuming, right? In so many different ways. yesterday.
Then you throw alcohol in the mix, right?
Oh, I don't drink for a reason. It just doesn't agree with me. Same thing with dairy. It just doesn't agree with me. I tried so many different things. It just didn't work for me. And I was almost happy about it because I was just like, it doesn't wine makes me sleepy. And then all the drinks with sugar in it just makes me feel like this, right? I just have a sugar crash. So people that feel that low energy, I feel like if you really sit and observe, we talked to Stefana yesterday. You weren't there, but we did an elect to abundance minds. Oh my God, you have to watch it. I'm editing it a little bit.
I'm excited.
You have to watch the replay. If you guys if you're not in the community, you have to join the community because we're doing these amazing training sessions with experts. And I had Stefana Johnson on yesterday to talk about going from a lack to abundant mindset. It was such a good, like literally the whole time my jaw was like, what? But one of the things she said is like, really observe how you're feeling in the moment, observe before you're eating the bad thing or you're doing the thing. How are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? Well, not necessarily why, but she just said, observe the feeling, and then just make the better choice. And I think so many times I just ignore that good voice in my head that's like, you really shouldn't be eating that. It's almost like I have this problem with, authority, but it's really just myself that I'm hurting. And so the idea of just observing. So for those of you that like really feel low frequency, you can't get out of bed, like you have that low energy, think about like, how much did you drink alcohol? How much sugar did you consume? How much meat? How much dairy, right? Like all of that has some sort of energy. And then also on top of that, it was the holidays. So were you around family members or friends that like sort of pull your energy down too? Because that has a huge impact on how we literally carry ourselves. I just want people to observe that.
Totally. I think too, around the holiday, you get the decision you get the choice to make a decision, right? And, living with that decision, whether it's overconsumption of food or sugar or, whatnot, what's the emotion you feel now? And then I would go back and write that emotion that you feel today next to what you consumed or next to the conversation you had, or right? Because that's really what we want to remember, And I think the other thing too is, for the folks who, maybe they did the thing anyway and they pushed through and maybe they didn't feel good or they had low energy and they just did it anyway. Kudos to you, but you can't keep doing that. Right? You can't keep pushing through and just getting to the other side because there's an effect. There's an effect on pushing through. There's an effect on you and there's an effect on other people around you, right? You can put the fake smile on if you feel like shit or if you're around people that bring you down, but what is that ultimately doing 6 hours later, 8 hours later, the next day, right? Studies have shown 55 to 65,000 thoughts a day, 70% of which are often negative, right? 85% of which we thought about yesterday. So if you get stuck in the conversation during a holiday with someone who brings your energy down and it's a 20-minute conversation, you're probably going to be thinking about that for the next couple of days. And the scary thing is subconsciously thinking about it, right? So it may not even come to the front of your mind to visualize it or to realize it, but it's happening. And the studies have shown that. Let alone if you bring in things that drain your energy and it's consistent, well, those negative thoughts are going to increase, right? This is a generalized study. It's proven. You can Google it. But there's obviously a scale to any study, right? There's a scale to what your experience is. There's a scale to what you've done previously or you're doing currently. So for all those folks that are hedging against trying to gain their energy and be around the right folks, these little blips of periods of times are stuck in your subconscious and coming up in the future. And I think when it's something like I know I shouldn't have eaten a ton of ice cream yesterday. I knew that I was going to feel terrible on Monday and it was going to roll into today and Tuesday. And I was going to be thinking about that. No, I shouldn't eat that. Like, how much thought, energy, and time have I put into that based on one thing that I did that I knew I shouldn't have done. We're talking about it right now.
Right.
Right.
But also when you are writing it down, like don't use words like I don't like hate yourself, right? That's why Stefana's like, just observe how you're feeling, but don't go into like, I'm a piece of shit. I can't believe I did that. Da, da, da. Don't do that towards yourself. Just observe, okay, these things didn't make me feel good. Do I like feeling this way? No. Should I eat that again? No. Right? Like, am I capable of making better decisions? Yes. Just observe, don't judge yourself. Because I think a lot of times, especially past me, I found old journals where it's just like, it was like writing the same thing again. Like, I feel like crap. Why did I do this? Da, 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 da. Like, you don't need to blame yourself, right? You did, it was, we move forward, right? And we just observe, did it make me feel good? No. Next time when this happens, do we eat this way? No.
Yeah.
I interviewed Evan Paul. He's a radio DJ. I knew him when he was here in Michigan as a DJ, but he was like almost 500 pounds. And he went on, multiple diets, kept trying and trying and trying and trying. And finally just deciding like the next choice I make will just be the right choice. Instead of, I want to lose hundreds of pounds, I'm going to eat this amazing menu. He simplified it as just like the next best thing, right? The next choice will be a good choice. And that's literally, he just microcosmed it down to just making the next best choice instead of looking at this wide range of, future and like what he wanted to accomplish, because that becomes big, right? It becomes such a big thing in our heads. And so if we can like niche it down to just, hey, this next choice, like Jim's going to go to the Dairy Queen, observe how you're feeling, right? Remember, recall how you felt today. Is Dairy Queen the best choice for you? No. And so when he goes to holidays and stuff, because I asked him, like, when you're around food, don't you crave it again? He's like, no, it's fascinating how when you stop doing something for a long period of time, your body doesn't crave it anymore. And he's like, I just bring my own food. He's like, I smoke some chicken and have some vegetables and fruit. And he's like, and I was fine. And so I think that we get so in our heads about like, well, how am I going to be able to make the good choice? And if I'm around people that are pushing food on me, right? Like eat a piece of cake, do this, it's okay. Just no, thank you. Right? I think we get so up in our heads about like making good choices, and especially when we're around other people that, and these people, when we're making good choices and we're feeling good about ourselves and we look amazing, we feel healthy, they don't like that. So they are going to literally push the worst possible options on you, whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's going out to the bar and doing something horrifying, right? Like just low energy stuff. Those may not be the right people for you. Really sort of think about that. People that want to bring you back down to this level when you're up here. Your goal is to stay up here. Observe how you're feeling today. 2 days post-holiday in sugar, right? Like just observe and understand that you can make better choices next time. And it really is just that simple.
Those little micro moments are so powerful when it comes to compounding, right? It's like, okay, one small step, one small step, one small step. And I think we can use that strategy and that framework in everything in life. If we think about the big goal, the big thing, and it's light years away, and how are we going to get there? It's going to stress us out, right? But how do you really rise? How do you really energize yourself? Well, you celebrate those small wins, I was having a great conversation with someone in the community yesterday, and they're scaling and growing and, adding a position, and you can think about all the things that have to be done to do that, right? Like you've got to reach out to the state, and you've got to do payroll tax, and you've got to have an onboarding process and paperwork and emergency contact and all these little things that you've got to do. And then you got to train the person, have the SOP, and then have all the answers and the systems and set them up with the tech side of things and email, right? You've got it to onboard one person. There's probably 5,000 tasks over the course of the next 6 months. If you think about that, that's stressful. That ruins my energy.
You're making my stomach hurt right now. I'm like, oh God, 5,000 choices and things to do. Make it stop, Jim.
Rachel's like shaking on the
I'm
other
not
side.
scaling anymore. I'm done. I'm already done.
But that's the thing. Like that's the proven point right there. Right? Rachel's reaction is exactly what we don't want. We don't want to think about all those things because then it seems so distant, right? It seems so far away. But at the end of the day, like it's those micro things that are going to compound. That one conversation today where you talk about 5 or 6 things can lead to some critical thinking where someone creates assumption. And maybe you don't have to think or tell that person 5 things you were going to tomorrow because they took it and ran with it, or they probed and asked a question, or like they did some research, or they thought about it after work or on their lunch break and googled something, or used AI and leveraged. And there's all these things that can happen even though you have the plan of getting from here to getting to here, and there's multiple things that need to occur. But all those little micro moments are compounding those small steps, and it's actually reducing that down. So if we get ourselves stressed out and drain our energy about all these things we have to do, we're not playing into the realization that things are compounding and things are happening, and we're practicing magic, so magic's going to occur, right? And I think that's the thing that we forget. We forget to bet on the energy we bring, the energy our employee brings, the energy around what we're building, the compound effect. Because we're so focused on all the steps, we've got to just remember, like, what do we need to get done today? What do I have the energy for? That's another thing, right? Like, we talk about protecting the energy, but what about the realization of how much energy do we have today, and what's the most important thing to accomplish, right? Those are really good questions to think about, and to think about the compound effect that no one has it figured out, right? And one of my favorite quotes is like, when you realize you have no idea what you're doing is when you start creating. And like, we all want to create. I believe we're all here to create, whether that's children, whether that's businesses, whether that's vacations, experiences, right? But at the end of all of it, at the end of it, it's like, I don't know what the hell's going on, so I'm going to create it. And like, that's a beautiful thing, let alone the compound that happens. And thinking about these things from a standpoint, like Rachel said, of just focus on what I need to do right now. Just focus on what needs to happen, what's on my mind, what's on my brain, what's important, what's a priority. Just do these couple things, what needs to happen next. And that compound effect and celebrating those small wins, I think, are going to give everybody a ton of energy. And then that energy compounds as well,
I think that's beautiful. So today, think about compounding positive energy, because just as you can compound positive, you can compound negative. Let's focus on compounding the positive, right? And bringing our energy levels up to here and getting up to this frequency. And just observe. If you're feeling like crap, like the both of us are today, sugar crash, maybe the meat sweats, too much dairy, alcohol, you're around terrible people, or you found yourself doom scrolling and just consuming negative things that just didn't make you feel good about yourself. All those compounded negatively. So let's start making decisions, micro decisions that compound positively. And the choice is yours. Do you want to be in positive or you want to be in negative? And then again, choose to be a creator. Stop consuming. You can create this whole reality that you live in. And just make better choices, compound better choices. Really quickly, I do want to mention, like, we're micro niching things down in the community. So when we talk about like making like little steps, one of the things that we're doing today during Momentum Hour, it's 1:00 Eastern, 12:00 Central, but it's only inside the community. Jim did this amazing presentation or training session called Now Money, right? Like, if you need to make money right now. And we do this only inside the community. So today we're niching down one of the steps. And that's sort of like when people ask what makes this community different, we don't just give you the big vision. We micro niche down the small steps that compound to create the bigger picture. Whereas most communities will just be like, here's a bunch of courses, figure it out, do it on your own. Check in with us in a month. We daily niche down things and literally walk you through everything. So one of the things Jim is doing today is walking us through, what is it called? What was the first step? It's what is your figuring out your profitable skill, right?
Profitable
So
skill.
that's what we're going to do today. So if you guys are interested in the community, if you're interested in taking little baby steps that will really help you to your ultimate goal, think about joining Impact Effect Community. It's impacteffectcommunity.com. It's so easy to join. We do onboard you with a phone call to figure out what it is that you need. And then we curate training sessions and micro sessions literally towards whatever it is those goals are that you have personally. So it's been an amazing journey so far. We've literally just started. And we are curating specifically towards what you guys want, not what we think you need. And I think that's what makes us so special and just different.
I love it. I love it. And I think your point about these micro moments that allow us to compound and create the impact that we want, doing a training that's an hour can be broken out into probably 10 or 12 small trainings. And we want to do those 10 or 12 small trainings for the members. The reason why is because we don't want you to make an assumption on something that can move the needle drastically without leveraging the insights and the expertise of everybody else in the community, right? Like at the end of the day, you can take a training and go, okay, this is it. But if you don't have conversation, if you don't have strategy, if you don't have ideation around that decision, then it could be pushing you in the wrong decision, the wrong way. And I think that's just really important to, one, get the feedback, but two, also realize that it's just a small step forward. So I'm excited for today. Momentum Hour is going to be fun. I'm excited for the other trainings we have coming up this week, workshop to webinar. We've got so much coming up. I gotta shave the beard for this week. I gotta look good. I'm gonna be on camera like 4 times a day. So
I know that's pretty much the goal. Is we'll be live inside the community all day. I'm just gonna live stream my day. You guys can follow me. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have an incredible Tuesday. Really observe what's going on because we can make the better changes and better choices. Micro changes. It's okay. You've got this. Have an amazing day, everybody.